Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Chris Lord coming at you for breaking news. Breaking news. Listen, my name is Dr. Chris Lord. I'm running for President of the United States of America in 2020. I've got breaking news. Breaking news. Kavanaugh has been caught just like Matlock would have caught him. And just like my favorite other one, Jessica Fletcher would have caught him on TV. Okay? And he was caught by Mitchell, who was brought in to question Kavanaugh. Okay, I'm looking at a couple of articles by the Washington Post, and also I'm looking at the transcript of a key portion of a key portion of the what do you call this? The questioning of the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Okay, now Philip Bump has done two good articles on this that pretty much sums up, in my opinion, why Kavanaugh is going downhill. But if you listen to the media is not going to report on this, and you know why? They got too many connections. Okay, and you want to clean the swamp? Well, let me tell you how you clean the swamp. You clean the swamp by coming out with the truth. And I'm going to come out with the truth. And I'm going to tell you the truth right now. Because guess what? America has to do better. As President of the United States of America in 2020, I'm going to ensure that we do better. It's time for us to receive the grace of Jesus Christ, to walk in perfect morality, to do right by each other. And Kavanaugh was not walking in the grace of Jesus Christ, and that's why he turned out to be a rapist, okay? And he will not, I repeat, breaking news. I'm telling you this tonight. It's 9/27/2018 at 10:03 p.m. He is not going to be confirmed as a Supreme Court justice. It's just not going to happen, okay? It's just not going to happen. And they're going to make out, maybe they'll do some backroom deal and say that the reason why they didn't accept him as a Supreme Court justice had to do with the fact that he had a judicial philosophy that they did not agree with. But trust me, he's not getting in because the evidence is out there. So let's look at this article by Philip Bump from the Washington Post. And guess what, guys? I printed it out. So if they try to delete it or whatever, it doesn't matter. I got it. The title of the article is "The Republicans' Prosecutor May Have Helped Undercut Kavanaugh's Defense." I'm going to read it to you. Kavanaugh claims he didn't know a woman who we learned was going out with his good friend. Okay, so Philip Bump is the one who wrote this article. He wrote it on September 27th at 3 p.m. when Christine Blasey Ford's allegation about having been assaulted by Supreme Court nominee Brett M. Kavanaugh while both were in high school first emerged earlier this month, his response was direct. "I categorically and unequivocally deny this allegation," he said in a statement. "I did not do this back in high school or at any time." In an interview on Fox News this week, Kavanaugh went further, suggesting his familiarity with Ford was almost non-existent. "I may have met her. We did not travel in the same social circle. She was not my friend, not someone I knew," he said. He dismissed Ford's allegation as being about a party in the summer of 1982 at a house near Connecticut Avenue and East-West Highway with 5 people present. Okay? He said, "I was never at any such party," he said. Sorry, I'm reading it for the first time with you, okay? Actually, let me go back and read that the right way. So it says, "I may have met her. We did not travel in the same social circle. She was not a friend, not someone I knew," he said. He dismissed Ford's allegation as being about a party in the summer of 1982 at a house near Connecticut Avenue and East Highway with 5 people present. He says, "I was never at any such party," he said. That assertion got a bit wobbly once Kavanaugh released a copy of his calendar from the summer of 1982. You know, he's such a smartass. You know, why would you release that? You know, he's a smartass. He's so smart, his stupid ass is going to have himself thrown in jail. What an idiot. You so smart, you stupid. See, that's why you need the hesed of God. You need Jesus Christ in your life, okay? Stupid idiot. Why are you giving him information? You should have just let Ford be the one to testify. But no, you had to give your calendar because you're so fucking smart. You're crazy. You're a lunatic. You really think that you're getting in to the Supreme Court, you rapist? You serial rapist? Ha! That assertion got a bit wobbly once Kavanaugh released a copy of his calendar from the summer of 1982. The period in which the assault allegedly happened. That document shows a number of events that overlap with commentary from Kavanaugh's 1983 senior year yearbook, in which he apparently refers to heavy drinking. It also notes several parties that Kavanaugh was scheduled to attend. Many of those entries identify parties and outings with his friends, Judge, his friend Mark Judge, who Ford says was at the party where the incident allegedly occurred, PJ Patrick Smith, who Ford also says was there, and others, Tom, Mark, Timmy. On 13 occasions, wow, so, oh my God, so Ford said this. Now, really quickly, I'm just going to take a pause, and I just want to look at the calendar entry, and I'm going to read it to you. The calendar entry that has sprung up as of importance during Kavanaugh's testimony. Okay, it was a July 1st entry. Let me see, did I print that out? Hold on, let me check. Hold on, I just want to read from the actual entry itself. Okay, look at this, people. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So this is the July 1st, 1982 entry. I'll attach the picture to this post. Tobin's house workout, he wrote. And then at the bottom he says, go to Timmy's for skis, which meant bear, with Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, and Ski. Now, Ford says it was that when Kavanaugh attacked her, it was at a party where five people were in attendance, she says. Let me see. What it say? It says, wait, hold on. She said that, wait, hold on. Right, he released a calendar from summer of 1982, the period in which the assault allegedly happened. That document shows a number of events that overlap with commentary from Kavanaugh's 1983 senior year yearbook, in which he apparently refers to heavy drinking. It also notes parties that Kavanaugh was scheduled to attend. Many of those entries identify parties and outings with his friends. Judge, his friend Mark Judge, who Ford says was at a party where the incident allegedly occurred. PJ Patrick Smith, who Ford also says was there, and others, Tom, Mark, Timmy. Okay? So we see at this one, we got Timmy. We've got Mark Judge. We've got Tom. We've got PJ Patrick Smith, a person by the name of Bernie, and Ski, all right, which is spelled S-Q-U-I. Now, on 13 occasions, Kavanaugh refers to someone named Ski on his calendar. It's the name that crops up the most. The most is Ski, S-Q-U-I. Kavanaugh and Ski, who played on a Georgetown prep football team with him, went to a Washington Bullets game to Ski's house in Rehoboth to see movies to the beach. On July 1st, Kavanaugh, Judge, PJ, Ski, and two others go to Timmy's for Ski. So that was Kavanaugh, Judge, PJ, Ski, and two others. Okay? So that's 6 people plus Timmy, so that's 7 people. An apparent reference to going to a friend's house for bears, brewskis. Ski was apparently also close to Ford. The Republican majority on the Senate Judiciary Committee asked the prosecutor named Rachel Mitchell to ask questions of Ford during Thursday's hearing, recognizing the trickiness of having the all-male members of the committee trying to undercut Ford's testimony. At one point, Mitchell asked about her connection to Kavanaugh. I want to ask you about someone else. You mentioned that there was a classmate who really was the connection between you and Brett Kavanaugh, Mitchell said. Mitchell asked, who was that person? Okay, so Rachel Mitchell is a prosecutor. Okay, and so she's asking these questions. So Ford began talking about the mistaken identity theory of the alleged attack posited by conservative lawyer Ed Whelan on Twitter earlier this month. Whelan offered an apparently meritless theory that the attack was committed by someone whom Ford mistook for Kavanaugh. Mitchell seemed confused. Returning to her question, who was the person? Ford explained, the shared connection to Kavanaugh was the person who Whelan suggested might be the real culprit. How long did you know this person? Mitchell asked. Maybe for a couple of months we socialized, Ford replied. But he also was a member of the same country club, and I knew his younger brother as well. That was a couple of months prior to the alleged attack, Mitchell clarified. Mitchell then asked Ford to explain the nature of her relationship with that person. He was somebody that I will use the phrase I went out with, Ford said using air quotes. I wouldn't say date. I would say went out with for a few months. That was how we termed it at the time. After that, we were distant friends, she continued, and ran into each other periodically at Columbia Country Club, but I didn't see him often. That person, as you've likely guessed, was Ski, S-Q-U-I. We know that because Ford described him as the target of Whelan's speculation, and a photo from Kavanaugh's yearbook identified that individual as having the nickname Ski, S-Q-U-E-E. Ford, in other words, claims that she had been going out with Ski for months before the alleged incident in the summer of 1982. Kavanaugh's calendar from that year shows that he spent a lot of time with Ski as well. And Kavanaugh further alleges that he may have met Ford, but that they did not travel in the same social circle. And that she was not a friend, not someone I knew. Mitchell's apparent role was to undercut Ford's story. By linking Ford to Ski, she may have helped undercut Kavanaugh's. That was Philip Bump. Philip Bump is a correspondent for the Washington Post based in New York. Before joining the Post in 2014, he led politics coverage for the Atlantic Wire. Now, let's go to the next story written by Philip Bump. This one was written, he wrote, the title of it is Kavanaugh is pressed on the key July 1st entry in his calendar, but only to a point. By Philip Bump, September 27th at 5:31 p.m. During Thursday's dramatic questioning of Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, he was quizzed repeatedly about the calendars he provided to bolster his case that he didn't assault Christine Blasey Ford while a high school student in 1982. Ford alleges that she attended a party at someone's home that summer where, she alleges, Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge pushed her into a bedroom and locked the door, where Kavanaugh then began to try to remove her clothes. Among the others at the party, Ford alleged, was another friend of Kavanaugh's named P.J. Smith. So this is what Ford is saying. So Ford is saying that she attended a party at someone's home that summer. She couldn't remember who that person was, but it was obviously Timmy. Okay? It was Timmy. So she attended a party at someone's home that summer, Timmy, where she alleges Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge pushed her into a bedroom and locked the door, where Kavanaugh then began to try to remove her clothes. Among the others at the party, Ford alleged, was another friend of Kavanaugh's named P.J. Smith, also listed in the July 1st entry. Sorry, I'm speaking too. In Kavanaugh's calendar. Kavanaugh denies the allegation and told Fox News' Marth McCallum that while he might have met Ford, he didn't know her. Judge said in a statement that he doesn't remember any such party. Smith made a similar statement. So, Ford gives a testimony that she was at a party with 4 of the people that Kavanaugh has listed on his July 1st, 1982 calendar as having had a party. But she didn't name Timmy because maybe she didn't know him. But she certainly knew Kavanaugh, Judge, P.J. Smith, and Ski. But wait a minute. Ford alleges that she attended... Right, so Kavanaugh and the friend Mark Judge, P.J. Smith. So If she was at this party, Ski would have invited her. That's your fourth person that she knows. Okay. All right. It was Kavanaugh's hope that providing those calendars would show that he attended no such gathering. He insisted in his testimony Thursday that any party of the sort must have been on a weekend since he and his friends had jobs, and that the calendar showed that essentially all the weekends were booked with other activities. His friend Mark Judge, in a memoir about his past drinking problem, wrote that this wasn't a concern of his. He'd regularly show up at work hungover or drunk. So obviously they did have these parties during the week, as stated, as shown in Kavanaugh's calendar. Rachel Mitchell, hired by the Republican majority of the Senate Judiciary Committee to navigate the questioning of Kavanaugh and Ford, pointed to one particular calendar entry that got some attention after the calendars came out. It read, Tobin's house workout, then there's a slash, go to Timmy's for skis with Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, and Ski. The reference to skis apparently to brewskis or beers. The entry was July 1st, a Thursday. Mitchell asked him about it. Mitchell, the entry says, and I quote, go to Timmy's for skis with Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, and Ski. Kavanaugh says, Ski, it's a nickname. Mitchell, to what does this refer and to whom? Kavanaugh, after explaining the Tobin's house part, it looks like we went over to Timmy's. You want to know their last names too. I'm happy to do it. Mitchell, if you could just identify, is Judge Mark Judge? Kavanaugh, it is. It's Tim Gaudette, Mark Judge, Tom Kane, PJ Smith, Bernie McCarthy, Chris Garrett. Notice two things here. First, that Ski was in attendance at the party. Someone who we learned, thanks to Mitchell's questioning of Ford, was going out with Ford over the course of that summer. Second, notice those two other attendees, one of whom Mitchell highlighted, Mark Judge and PJ Smith. Mitchell's questioning continued. Did you in your calendar routinely document social gatherings like house parties or gatherings of friends in your calendar? Kavanaugh, yes, it certainly appears that way. That's what I was doing in the summer of 1982. You can see that reflected on several of the entries. Mitchell, if a gathering like Dr. Ford has described had occurred, would you have documented that? Kavanaugh, yes, because I documented everything, those kinds of events, even small get-togethers. August 7th is another example where I documented a small get-together that summer, so yes. During her testimony, Ford made it clear that the event at which she says she was assaulted was a casual get-together before the others, who were older than her and had a later curfew, went to other bigger parties. Kavanaugh says the gathering at Timmy's on July 1st was essentially that. We noted Thursday, too, that the time frame of this July 1st party fits Ford's testimony. She says that 6 to 8 weeks after the alleged assault, she saw a Judge working at a store in the area. Judge's book indicates that he was working at the store for several weeks in early to mid-August. This is a central point to Ford's allegation. Kavanaugh denies knowing her, denies being at a party with her. Here is an event in July where he was with several long-standing friends, two of whom were named by Ford and one of whom she'd been going out with. But Mitchell's next question completely fumbles the point. Have you reviewed every entry that is in these calendars of May, June, July, and August of 1982? Kavanaugh, I have. Mitchell, is there anything that could have even remotely fit what we're talking about in terms of Dr. Ford's allegations? Kavanaugh, no. That was it. Mitchell changed the subject. There were all sorts of ways that Mitchell could have pressed the issue. How, for example, might Ford have been able to identify by name two of Kavanaugh's close friends if she didn't know him or had barely met him? Why isn't it possible that this July 1st get-together was precisely the sort of event at which Ford alleges she was assaulted? That more than remotely fits the allegation, but she didn't ask. Mitchell had been stepping in for Republican senators during the day's questioning, a tactic that helped the majority avoid the spectacle of men grilling a woman about an attack she says she experienced. There was no break in that pattern until the July 1st question. The next two Republican senators who had the chance to ask questions took that opportunity to make comments of their own. Now, let's go to the actual testimony where this goes on. We just read an article by, two articles by Philip Bump, and now we're going to go to the transcript of Judge Kavanaugh's testimony. Kavanaugh, the yearbook, the yearbook, as I said in my opening statement, was something where the students and editors made a decision to treat some of it as farce and some of it as exaggeration. Some of it celebrating things that don't reflect the things that were really the central part of our school. Yes, we went to parties though. Yes, of course we went to parties, and the yearbook page describes that and kind of makes fun of it. And as a, if we want to sit here and talk about whether a Supreme Court nomination should be based on a high school yearbook page, I think that's taken us to a new level of absurdity. Leahy. Miss Mitchell, well, we got a filibuster, but not a single answer. Grassley. Miss Mitchell. Mitchell. Okay, so now Mitchell is speaking. Now this is an interchange between Mitchell and Kavanaugh. Judge, do you still have your calendars there? I do. I would like you to look at the July 1st entry. Yes. The entry says, and I quote, "Go to Timmy's for skis with Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, and Ski." Ski. That's a nick. That's a nickname. Okay, to what does this refer and to whom? So first says Tobin's house workout. So that's one of the football workouts that we would have. That Dr. would run for guys on the football team during the summer. Oh, so we would be there. That's usually 6 to 8 or so, kind of until near dark. And then it looks like we went over to Timmy's. You want to know their last names too? I'm happy to do it. If you could just identify, is Judge Mark Judge? It is. And is PJ Smith? It is. So all right, it's Tim Gaudette, Mark Judge, Tom Kane, PJ Smith, Bernie McCarthy, Chris Garrett. Chris Garrett is Ski. Listen to that, people. Chris Garrett is Ski. Okay, you saw my pimples. I'm playing. See. My buddy here, what's his name? Philip Bump didn't put that part in. You know what I mean? He didn't put that part in, but I caught it because I watched it. You know what I mean? But Philip Bump didn't put that part in because let me tell you something. They don't want to expose Kavanaugh, but he's been exposed. Kavanaugh says he is. So here we have it. Here we have it. Ford alleges that she went to a party in which Kavanaugh, Judge, actually she didn't say Ski, but she said Kavanaugh, Judge, and who else did she say was there? Well, she said actually 5 people were present at the party, is what she said, right? So so let's go through this. So Philip Bump points out that Ford made an allegation that she was at a party in which 5 people were present. Okay? Of those 5 people, she identified hold on. So she said 5 people were there, and from his entry in the calendar, 7 people, right? Because it was Timmy, Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, Ski, and Kavanaugh, right? So that would have been 7 people. But by the time she got there, which makes sense because if they were drinking beers, maybe 2 of them left, right? And then she decided to go, maybe she came in a little later than everyone else, but they had already been drunk. By the time she came in, maybe Ski had left. You understand? Maybe Ski had already left for whatever reason, but maybe he invited her But by the time she got, you know how kids are. He might have invited her, right? He might have left before she came, okay? She came a little later because that's how women are. They put on their makeup. They got to do all this stuff, and they be all late, okay? That's how women are, people. Come on, wake up. So, so when she said she was there, right? She said that, I'm trying to find where she said this. Oh, wait, I'm going to pause it for a second so I can find it so I'm not taking up too much time. Oh, yeah. Right. Judge Smith. Tom Mark Timmy, but she didn't say Tom Mark Timmy was there. Hold on. Chris, okay. Tom Mark Timmy. So let's go back to this. Tom Mark Timmy. Okay. So she said she went to someone's house. That was Timmy. Okay. So she said she went to someone's house. Tim, but she said someone, so she didn't remember who it was. So it was Timmy's house, obviously, because that was the entry that Kavanaugh put in. So she went to Timmy's house, but she didn't know who it was. She just said a person. So he was there, obviously, because it was his house. And then she also said that Judge was there. Right? Ford said this. Judge was there. Smith was there. And she also said that, obviously, Kavanaugh was there. Right? So that would have been 4 people that she knew of, but she said it was attended by 5 people. So there was one other person who was there. So she said, so let's do this again. So it was Timmy, who was the person who owned the house, but she just said someone's house. So it was Timmy's house. She didn't know Timmy. Judge, who she said was there. PJ. And then she said Kavanaugh. So that's 4 people that Ford was able to identify that are similarly identified on Kavanaugh's calendar entry for July 1st of 1982. Okay? It was Timmy, Mark Judge, PJ Smith, and Kavanaugh, right? So then there were 3 other people that she did not identify. Okay, so there was probably one other person. Maybe she didn't know who that person's name was. At least I don't know. I didn't see the article. But there were 3 other people who she did not name, who Kavanaugh says was there. But likely if she got there later, which she probably did, she could have gotten there after Ski left, which is why she didn't remember Ski was there. Because if Ski invited her to the party, that's the only reason why she would have gone. Most likely because Ski invited her. So she didn't name Ski as there. So let's just assume that Ski was one of the people there, but he left. Okay, so we're still left with 4 people. And we're also left with 2 other people unaccounted for. So there's a Tom and a Bernie. A Tom and a Bernie. That are also 2 people she didn't refer to. A Tom and a Bernie. So it could very well be that Tom, Bernie, and Ski left before she got there. That's why she didn't recall that Ski was there, because Ski was someone she went out with. So she certainly would have remembered, right, that she certainly would have remembered, you know what I mean, that Ski was there, if he was there. So by the time she got there, Ski could have left. And by the time that she got there, they were all very drunk, obviously, because he felt at liberty to sexually assault her. And as Kavanaugh felt at liberty to sexually assault Ford. So it looks like to me that the people who probably weren't there, by time, well, let's just talk about what happened, at least from what I can gather from the testimonies of both Kavanaugh and Ford. The incident most likely happened on July 1st of 1980. You know, I'm just going to say it happened on July 1st, 1982. Okay, come on, people. This is Matlock. This is Matlock. This is Perry Mason. You know what I mean? This is Jessica Fletcher types action, okay? All right? We know that he's guilty. At this point, we know that he's guilty. Now they got to do the investigation. They got to have the trial, you understand, to prove it all in the court of law. But we already know he's guilty. So let's just talk about this the way Matlock, okay, Jessica Fletcher, okay, and Perry Mason would do, okay? So this is what happened. On July 1st of 1982, actually I had been born in August 1st of 1981. So that's exactly 11 months after I was born. So I was 11 months old. Just throwing that in there. So exactly on July 1st of 1982, Timmy decided to have a house party. Kavanaugh was invited. And according to Kavanaugh, he knew of certain people who were invited, including Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, and Ski. Okay? So, there were, according to Kavanaugh, 7 people at this house party on July 1st of 1982. Now, Ski was one of the people in attendance, and Ski had been going out with, because we know that's how it was, you know, in high school. Ski was going out with Ford at the time. They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but they were dating. You know what I mean? So Ski probably said, come through. Now, I mean, my friend Timmy's having a party. Come to this house located at, come on. And if we looked, if the investigator investigated this, an investigator would probably find that Timmy lives exactly where Ford said she went, which was, sorry, let me find, I'm like mixing up the papers here. Sorry, guys. That Timmy lives exactly where Ford said she was, which was at a house near Connecticut Avenue and East-West Highway. Okay, so that's where Timmy probably lives, at a house, well, lived at a house near Connecticut Avenue and East-West Highway. So I'm sure investigators could look that up because they have his name, his official name as Kavanaugh gave us. So friendly of Kavanaugh to give us all the details. Tim's name was Tim Gaudette. So someone could look that up. Someone, whoever's watching, look up, where did Tim Gaudette live in the summer of 1982? Where did the Gaudette family live? There are records that would show. You could look at property tax records. You could look at all those records to see where the Gaudettes lived, okay? Did they live at a house, come on, near, I'm sorry, Ford says it was near, give me a second, I'm just going back and forth. Near Connecticut Avenue and East-West Highway in Maryland. Okay, near, you know, in this area. So someone could look that up easily and find that out. That's one thing that somebody can find out. The next thing is that when Ford got there, she said there were 5 people there. Now, if she's a woman, most likely women are like this. They're always late because they're applying makeup. You know, they're getting ready for a party. They want to look good, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Ski probably invited Ford because they were going together. But Ski, being an absent-minded young boy at the time, which there are a lot of them out there, okay, probably just went on about his business and decided to hang. Maybe he didn't see Ford's show. Maybe he didn't think she was coming. And then him and Bernie and, who was it, Tom? probably decided to leave the party and do something else stupid. Who knows? So that was, you know, Tom, Bernie, and Ski probably left the party at that time and decided, you know, that they wanted to do something else. Okay, Tom, Bernie, and Ski. So then what you have, they leave the party. Then Ford arrives. When Ford gets there, who's there? Timmy, who's obviously the owner of the house, right? Judge, PJ, Kavanaugh, and one other person, because she said there were 5 people there. Wait a minute, did I mix this up, guys? My memory isn't that great. I'm ADHD, so I just got to make sure I'm getting it right. Okay, remember, Ford says she was there with, first she said is that she was at a party with 5 people. There were 5, no, she said there were 5 people in attendance. So I'm assuming that meant 5 plus 1, her, which would mean 6 people there total. So then she would say that it was Judge, PJ, Timmy, as well as Kavanaugh, right? Right? And then there were 3 other people who were unaccounted for. Ski wasn't there, most likely. He left with someone else, either Bernie or Tom. But it looks like maybe one of these guys, either Tom or Bernie, were there at the party. We don't know which one, though, because she didn't know everybody there. But she definitely knew Judge, Kavanaugh, and PJ. But she didn't know the owner, who was Timmy. Okay? And then she also didn't know, she probably didn't know either Tom or Bernie. But one of them were there. Okay, so let me fix this right. Okay, because my memory isn't that great. But, you know, you get the point. It was either Tom or Bernie who was there, and Ski had left. Because if Ski was there, she would have remembered that. She would have remembered that. So Ski and somebody else, either Tom or Bernie, left. Okay? Come on, people. This is Matlock. This is Perry Mason. This is some Jessica Fletcher stuff, okay? And if you look at the testimony, look at that exact part, Kavanaugh got real scared, okay? And that's when the Republicans stopped using Mitchell for questioning, and all of a sudden they were unhinged, just saying how this is wrong, this is that. And Dick Durbin after that, he really laid in. So let's move on and read the rest. So anyway, what then happened was, I'm going to just finish this up. So then what happened was that, remember, either Ski definitely left either with Tom or Bernie. That's why she couldn't remember if Ski was there. But she would have definitely said that because she was going out with him at the time. But the reason why she got to the party was because he invited her. But after she hadn't shown for a while, he probably just decided to leave. By the time Ford got there, come on, people, Kavanaugh, Judge, Timmy, and either Bernie or Tom, and PJ were all smashed. You know what I mean? They were all smashed. So, and they say when you drink alcohol and you get drunk like that, the truth comes out. See, I'm just sipping on it. You know what I mean? But when people get drunk like that, their true being comes out. You know what I mean? And Judge was a heavy alcoholic, and so was Kavanaugh. Because Kavanaugh listed that in his yearbook. So going on, we see here in the testimony, so Mitchell goes, did you in your calendar routinely document social gatherings like house parties or gatherings of friends in your calendar? Kavanaugh, yes. It certainly appears that way. That's what I was doing in the summer of 1982, and you can see that reflected on several of the entries. If a gathering like Dr. Ford was described had occurred, would you have documented that? Yes, because I documented everything of those kinds of events, even small get-togethers. August 7th is another good example, where I documented a small get-together that summer. So yes, August 7th. Could you read that? I think that's Go to Becky's. Matt, Denise, Lori, Jenny. Have you reviewed every entry that is in these calendars of May, June, July, and August of 1982? I have. Is there anything that could even remotely fit what we're talking about in terms of Dr. Ford's allegations? No. Blatant lie. Come on, the July 1st entry obviously can remotely fit what they're talking about. So that's a blatant lie. So Mitchell says, as a lawyer and a judge, we've talked about the FBI. Are you aware that this type of offense would actually be investigated by local police? Yes, I mentioned Montgomery County Police earlier. Yes. Okay, are you aware that in Maryland, there is no statute of limitations that would prohibit you being charged, even if this happened in 1982? That's my understanding. Have you at any time been contacted by any members of local police agencies regarding this matter? No, ma'am. Prior to your nomination for Supreme Court, you've talked about all of the female clerks you've had and the women that you've worked with. I'm not just talking about them. I'm talking about globally. Have you ever been accused, either formally or informally, of unwanted sexual behavior? No. And when I say informally, I mean just a female complains. It doesn't have to be to anybody else but you. No. Since Dr. Ford's allegation was made public, how many times have you been interviewed by the committee? It's been 3 or 4. I'm trying to remember now. It's been several times. Each of these new things, absurd as they are, we'd get on the phone and kind of go through them. So, have you submitted to interviews specifically about Dr. Ford's allegation? Yes. And what about Deborah Ramirez's allegation? Yes. That you waved your penis in front of her? Yes. What about Julie Swetnick's allegation that you repeatedly engaged in drugging and gang raping or allowing women to be gang raped? Yes. I've been interviewed about it. Were your answers to my questions today consistent with the answers that you gave the committee in those various interviews? Yes, ma'am. Okay, I see I'm out of time. This is Grassley. Senator Durbin? Durbin. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Kavanaugh, earlier today, and this is where Durbin really hits the ball out the park, okay? Dr. Christine Ford sat in that same chair, and under oath, she said clearly and unequivocally that she was a victim of sexual assault at your hands. She answered our questions directly, and she didn't flinch at the prospect of submitting herself to an FBI investigation of these charges. We know, and I'm sure she's been advised by her attorneys, that a person lying to the FBI can face criminal prosecution. You have clearly and unequivocally denied that you assaulted Dr. Ford. With that statement, you must believe that there is no credible evidence or any credible witness that could prove otherwise. You started off with an impassioned statement at the beginning, and I can try to imagine that what you have been through and your family's been through, and I'm sure I wouldn't get close to it, but it was an impassioned. I'm sure, okay, and I guess this was Kavanaugh. I don't know, it says unknown. Okay, I'm sure you wouldn't. So they weren't sure who said this. Durbin. I'm sure I wouldn't. It's an impassioned statement. And in the course of it, you said, I welcome any kind of investigation. I quote you. I welcome any kind of investigation. I've got a suggestion for you right now. Turn to your left in the front row to Don McGahn, counsel to President Donald Trump. Ask him to suspend this hearing and nomination process until the FBI completes its investigation of the charges made by Dr. Ford and others, and goes to bring the witnesses forward and provides that information to this hearing. I am sure that the chairman at that point will understand that is a reasonable request to finally put to rest these charges, if they are false, or to prove them if they are not. You spent 2 years in the White House office that approved judicial nominees. You turned to the FBI over and over and over again for their work. Let's bring them in here and now. Turn to Don McGahn and tell him it's time to get this done. An FBI investigation is the only way to answer some of these questions. Unknown person says, Senator. Grassley says, stop the clock. The committee is running this hearing, not the White House, not Don McGahn, not even you as a nominee. We are here today because Dr. Ford asked for an opportunity to hear. I know you did too, as well. In fact, maybe even before she did. We're here because people wanted to be heard from charges that they all thought were unfair, or activities like sexual assault was unfair. So I want to assure Senator Durbin, regardless of what you say to Senator Don McGahn, we're not suspending this hearing. Proceed to answer the question, or so whatever, or two if the gentleman. Durbin, I'll say this. If you, Judge Kavanaugh, turn to Don McGahn and to this committee and say, for the sake of my reputation, my family name, and to get to the bottom of the truth of this, I am not going to be an obstacle to an FBI investigation. I would hope that all the members of the committee would join me in saying, we're going to abide by your wishes, and we will have that investigation. Kavanaugh, I welcome whatever the committee wants to do because I'm telling the truth. Durbin, I want to know what you want to do. Kavanaugh, I'm telling the truth. I want to know what you want to do, Judge. I'm innocent. I'm innocent of this charge. Then you're prepared for an FBI investigator? They don't reach conclusions. You reach the conclusion, Senator. No, but they do investigate questions. I'm innocent. And you can't have it both ways, Judge. You can't say here at the beginning, I wanted a hearing. Your moment. Look, this thing, I welcome any kind of investigation, and then walk away from this. This thing was sprung on me. This thing was sprung at the last minute after being held by staff. You know? Judge, if there is no truth to, and I called for a hearing immediately. If there is no truth to her charges, the FBI investigation will show that. Are you afraid that they might not? Come on. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Grassley. Come on. Gee whiz. Kavanaugh. The FBI does not reach, you know. You know this. You know that's a phony question. Well, here. Because the FBI doesn't reach conclusions. So let's just provide the 302s, the 302, so I can explain to people who don't know what that is. They're just going to do what you're doing. Ask questions and then type up a report. They don't reach the bottom line conclusion. This morning, I asked Dr. Ford, I asked her about this incident where she ran into Mark Judge in Safeway. And she said, sure, I remember it. 6 or 8 weeks after this occurrence. Well, someone at the Washington Post went in and took a look at Mr. Judge's book and has been able to, the one that he wrote about his addiction and his alcoholism, and they have narrowed it down. What they think was a period of time 6 or 8 weeks after the event. And he would have been working at the Safeway at that point. So the point I'm getting to is we at least can connect some dots here and get some information. Why would you resist that kind? Here's some dots of investigation. Why would you resist that kind of investigation?
Senator, I wanted this hearing last week.
I'm asking about the FBI investigation.
There, the committee figures out how to ask the questions. I'll do whatever. I've been on the phone multiple times with committee counsel. I'll talk to
Judge Kavanaugh, will you support an FBI investigation? Right now?
I will do whatever the committee wants to do.
Personally, do you think that's the best thing for us to do? You won't answer?
Look, Senator, I've stated I wanted a hearing, and I said I was welcome to anything. I'm innocent. Come on, man. This thing was held when it could have been presented in the ordinary way. I could have been held and handled confidentially at first, which was what Dr. Ford's wishes were. As I understand it, it would have caused this, destroyed my family. This effort has.
I think an FBI investigation will help all of us on both sides of the issue. Grassley, Senator Graham asked for the floor. But before he does, it seems to me that if you want to know something, you've got the witness right here to ask him. And secondly, if you want an FBI report, you can ask for it yourself. I've asked for FBI reports in the past, in the 38 years I've been in the Senate. Senator Graham, are you aware that at 9:23 on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said 23 minutes after your nomination, I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything else, anything less. Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Dianne Feinstein on August 20th? Kavanaugh.
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Graham, did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I didn't know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life. Hold the seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsay said hello because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
Oh, the Wicked Witch melts. I can imagine what you and your family have gone through. But, boy, you all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham. That you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Do you consider this a job interview?
If the advice and consent role is like a job interview,
do you consider that you've been through a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution.
Which would you say you've been through? Hell? job interview. Yes! This is hell. This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life. Not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school, and all of a sudden you got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and rape them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it. Like the American Bar Association has, the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is very circumspect in his personal conduct. He harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical. He's a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA! One thing I can tell you, you should be proud of Ashley. You should be proud of that you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well. And I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will. Grassley, Senator Whitehouse. Should we let things settle a little bit after that? Grassley, if you want to, we'll take a 60-second break. Whitehouse, no, I'm good. Grassley, okay, go ahead. All right, so. Oh my gosh, that was amusing. I don't know if you felt tickled by that, but I certainly did. Anyway, so let's run this down as Matt Lockwood. On July 1st of 1982, Timmy has a house party in which he invites Kavanaugh, Judge, Ski, PJ, Tom, Bernie, right? Wait, Timmy. Here I go again. I'm trying to remember things. It would be Timmy has a party, right, in which he invites Judge, Tom, PJ, Bernie, Ski, and Kavanaugh, right? That's 7 people. By the time Ford gets there, only 5 people are there, including Timmy, including PJ, including Kavanaugh, including Judge, and one other person. It could be either Bernie or Tom, but we don't know which one. Okay? It could be either Bernie or Tom, left with Ski by time Ford got there. And obviously by time Ford got there, they were all pretty trashed and drunk. Because like they say, when you get really drunk, the truth comes out. So Mark Judge and Kavanaugh scheme over Ford, who had been there because she was probably invited by Ski. That's why she would come, because Ski invited her. But maybe Ski was waiting on her and was like, look, she ain't showing up. Let's go. It's either Tom or Bernie. I don't know who. So, but, we would have to do an investigation to further find out. We would also have to do an investigation to find out where Timmy actually lived. That's Tim Gardette, I believe his name was. If he lived exactly at the corner where Ford had alleged the party had taken place, which is near Connecticut Avenue and East-West Highway. Okay? That would be Tim Gardette, I believe his name was. Or Timothy Gardette. Anyway, so then Ford would say that Ford had said that Judge and Kavanaugh forced her into a room. Let me read that exactly what she said. From the article, from the Washington Post article. But you can go back to the actual transcript to read it exactly. But she said, Okay. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to find the part where they explain. Oh, here it is. So Ford alleges that this is what Philip Bump wrote for the Washington Post on September 27th at 5:31 p.m. He wrote, Ford alleges that she attended a party at someone's home that summer where she alleges Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge pushed her into a bedroom and locked the door, where Kavanaugh then began to try to remove her clothes. Among the others at the party, Ford alleged was another friend of Kavanaugh's named P.J. Smith. Kavanaugh denies the allegation and told Fox News' Martha McCallum that while he might have met Ford, he didn't know her. Judge said in a statement that he doesn't remember any such party. Smith made a similar statement. So obviously, we've got enough information from all of the testimonies to say that an investigation ought to take place, that Judge Kavanaugh's nomination should at least be postponed until a full investigation takes place. But if they do go forward to try to see if they can nominate him tomorrow, I believe that the truth is already out and that Kavanaugh is going to want to bow out. But he's probably not going to bow out. They're probably just going to deny him the Supreme Court the seat, and say that the reason why they denied him that seat is because of his judicial philosophy, that they disagree with it. But it wouldn't have anything to do with this testimony by Ford. They will probably say that it was inconclusive. So that's my take on the whole matter. Breaking news, breaking news. I believe that if they do push through a nomination tomorrow, they're definitely going to not accept Kavanaugh, because if they accept him, then they've got to go through with this investigation. People are going to investigate it. Reporters are going to investigate it. All they have to do is to connect the dots, as Dick Durbin said. And so Kavanaugh's not going to want that. Nobody's going to want that, because Kavanaugh does not want to go to jail. Okay, and he doesn't want to have to fight this out in court. So what's going to end up happening is they're just going to either he's going to step down and say forget about it, which I don't think is going to happen, because then it would presume that he's guilty, or they'll make some kind of a deal in the back room. That's why you're not hearing about this in the media. And the deal in the back room will probably be that they will not confirm him, but what they will do is say that the reason why they didn't confirm him had nothing to do with Ford's testimony. It had everything to do with his judicial philosophy. And that's going to be the talking points for September 28th of 2018. I really believe that. So let's see how this plays out. Am I right? Am I wrong? I'm interested in knowing. I'm just excited. This is really freaking amazing. And as I've said before, I'm just going to sum it up. I believe that we are in the last stages of the ox. As I said before, there are four faces of Jesus Christ. God displays his glory to the whole world through the four faces of Jesus Christ. That's the lion, the man, the ox, and the eagle. And Jesus Christ does this by transferring authority to each of these four faces and within the world, in the context of the world. And so the face of the lion means the Jewish nation, because David came from the tribe of Judah, and Judah's symbol is the lion. And so at one time, God had given all the power of the whole earth to the Jewish people. And the Jewish people were able to be very successful just because they were with God. But what happened is they continued to worship other gods, other little g gods, other idols. And so God eventually transferred that power from the Jewish people to man. And that was embodied in the first person was the king of Babylon, who at the time was King Nebuchadnezzar. And he was in charge of an empire that eventually had flowed into a few had transferred power into whose power was transferred into a few different groups of people. So first it was Babylon, the king of Babylon, King Nebuchadnezzar's power was eventually transferred to a new kingdom, which was the Medes and Persians. Then that power was transferred to a new kingdom, which was the Greeks. And that power was transferred to a new kingdom, which was the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire never really ended. It just kind of dissipated into Europe. And then what happened is God transferred the power of the whole earth from man to the ox. And the ox represents hard work. That means only those who are the most qualified get the good things in life. And that's been happening since probably maybe the 1400s or something like that. I'm not sure exactly when the time of the ox started, but it could have happened around the 1400s till now. But I believe we're coming to the end of an age. And the reason why I believe that we're coming to the end of the age of the ox is because all of these antichrists are popping out of the woodwork. And the reason why, and this is backed up in Bible, if you look at 1 John, I believe it is. Let's turn there real quick. 1 John, chapter, it might be chapter 3, or maybe 4. No, it might have been 2. Oh yeah, it's 1 John chapter 2. Verse 18 says, little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come, by which we know that it is the last hour. So whenever you come to the end of an age or the last hour of a big God event, you have all these Antichrists coming out the woodwork, and we've been seeing that. I mean, I've been experiencing it in my life, and you've been experiencing it in your life, where people who claim to be Christians, claim to believe in Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, but instead what they do is they tell you that they are the Jesus Christ. They are the Lord and Savior. They are the Christ. They are the Messiah. And so we've been seeing that. And we've been seeing all kinds of videos. I saw a video on social media with a guy who was a quote-unquote Christian missionary in Uganda, telling the people of Uganda in a hotel that they need to bow down to him, that he is Jesus Christ, that they should look at him, and all kinds of foolishness. I heard about another incident at a school called Christ the King School, where it's called Christ the King School, okay, where the administration pushed through some rules during the summer that the students, it was a middle school, I believe, that the students could not come, the black students, it was targeted, they targeted students who are black, who are termed as black, that they couldn't wear weaves or extensions or something else, I forgot what it was. And so there was a video of this young female who had very nice hair. Her hair was done very nicely, crying, could not go into school. They kicked her out. And the parents had to go and pick her up and bring her home. There were other incidents in which we're hearing some people, like I think it was D.L. Hughley and another comedian, I forgot the name of the guy. He always dresses up like an old woman or whatever. But they were saying that that the Bible is something about the Bible being wrong or not true or racist or something. I can't remember all the details, but I posted it on my page, I believe. And then there were other incidents where you're seeing pastors like John Gray come out and talk about that he's doing God's work by going to Trump's photo op on prison reform to try to make, and they were all these black pastors who went there, who Trump had, and they couldn't even ask questions. All they could do was say statements and make comments. And one of the pastors that was there was Dr. Sharon Nesbitt, who I really did look up to. But as a result of her attendance there, I, am uncertain about how I could look up to her, and I'm very disappointed in her. For quite some time I had been talking to her, letting her know that, to ask her to talk to me, and she would not talk to me. And I'm actually, as I told you before, running for president of the United States of America in 2020. And the fact that she would not talk to me, not even give me the time of day, wouldn't even just talk to me. And yes, I am attracted to her, and I told her that. You know what I mean? I probably talked to her and said, hey, let's go out, talk, over food or whatever. I'm very disappointed that she wouldn't even talk to me. You know what I mean? But she would, right away, as soon as Trump says talk, she goes and talks to him. You know what I mean? That pissed me off. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, why are you giving Trump more respect than me? You know what I mean? I'm your friend. You know what I mean? I like you. I'm attracted to you. You know what I mean? I gave you gifts. You know what I mean? I donated to your ministry. You know what I mean? I've attended your events. I have participated on your Facebook lives and things like that. And you're going to treat me like chopped liver, but then you're going to go ahead and as soon as Trump says jump, you're going to say how high? Like for real? You know what I mean? So to me, that was being an antichrist. And I told her that. You know what I mean? I told her she was being an antichrist for that. You know, and I'm just disappointed. There are a lot of people who are losing their way. Dr. Juanita Bynum is another one. I told her, I tried to give her flowers, and I wanted to take her out on a date. I said this publicly on Facebook, you know what I mean? And she blocked me from her page, you know what I mean? But, what I find is weird is that she she know I'm transgender. Come on, look at me. I look like a dude, straight up. I don't look like a female. Even if you wanted to say I'm a female because my voice is a certain type of way, you could just tell I'm obviously not trying to be a female. Know what I mean? And she gave me a hug. Then shortly thereafter, after I gave her a rose or tried to give her a rose, she gonna say I can't come back to her Tuesday night masterclass. You know what I mean? That's messed up. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, that's trifling. You know what I mean? Bishop T.D. Jakes is another antichrist. You know what I mean? He sat up there, and I went to his church in 2013. Well, actually, I had been there in 2010, the summer of 2010, and also the summer of 2011. And then I had gone back in 2013 after I had graduated, so that was spring to summer. And I had been there through 2013 through to 2014. And I was homeless, you know what I mean, after I had graduated my PhD, because I wanted a job and I wanted to work at the Potter's House so I could get some experience in ministry, so I would be prepared to, go to the White House and be a good presidential candidate that can hear from God, you know what I mean, because I think that is so important. That a president should be able to hear from God, because God is wisdom. You know what I mean? So if you're able to hear from God, then you would be able to, be able to make the right and proper decisions, just like King Solomon did for the nation of Israel. And so when I went to the Potter's House and asked for, anything, even just some mentorship. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to get some experience in understanding how to hear from God so that I could be the best president that I could be. And, Bishop T.D. Jakes and the rest of them, including Pastor Cheryl Brady and other people, Valerie Crumpton, and other people. I forgot some of these people's names. But Robinson, I think the guy's name, Lawrence Robinson, and another lady by the name of, I met with her, Bonnet Moon. They all met with me and treated me like chopped liver. They had me arrested because I protested them by getting butt naked in the middle of Wednesday night Bible study, because they were not treating me with respect, because I'm a little guy to them. You know what I mean? I'm a little guy. I'm nobody. You know what I mean? But as far as I'm concerned, every single American matters. Okay? And that's what God wants to happen. Every single American means something to God. Okay? And I got butt naked. They had me arrested. But when I got arrested, all I got was a ticket. Okay, then the lawyers for Bishop T.D. Jakes, or as I call him, T.D. Fakes, because he fakes being a bishop. He's not really a bishop. He's a shill for the devil. Okay, Bishop T.D. Fakes. Then, at the advice of his lawyers, from what I heard, put a criminal trespass against me, because in Texas you can do that. Criminal trespass me. And so I heard from the Lord to keep on coming to that church. And I kept on coming for quite a few times until they eventually decided to call the police on me to enforce the criminal trespass against me. They did it on 2 occasions. So on one occasion they did it, then I was arrested, then I came out after actually some time. I believe I was in jail for 63 days. I was in jail for that long because they tried to say that I was unfit to stand trial. and that I did not understand what was going on. You know, that I was maybe retarded or something. That I had I mean, I do have a learning disability. I have ADHD, but I do understand the court of law and anything like that. They tried to say that I was, you know, mentally retarded, and that I could not understand the charges and anything like that, and try to put me in a crazy house, I guess you could say. Try to lock me away forever. And this was at the behest of Bishop T.D. Fakes and other people, even people from within my family, including my father. And you know, I was just very disappointed in them for having not heard from God, from having not believed in God. And so, you know, I'm a little bit upset. You know, I'm upset that it's gotten to this point. You know, America needs to turn around. It's time. God is now going to transfer the power of the whole earth to America. We cannot continue to play games like this, okay? We cannot continue to hinder and delay and act as though, you know, we're so good, goody two-shoes and everything, and we're effing up. You know, we're fucking up. You know what I mean? Okay, no more. We can't continue to do that. And so I am definitely running for president of the United States of America in 2020 because I want to grow us up, you know, with the grace of God, by the grace of God. I believe that it's time. It's time for us to grow the fuck up and stop being a bunch of fucking babies. You know, come on. This is, I mean, you know better. You know better. If you know you're not qualified for the position, just step down. You know what I mean? And do something else. Okay, because you know what? The truth be told is you can get a job at the Supreme Court all you want, but you could end up going to hell for eternity. Like, what is worth hell? You know, why would you sell your soul? You know what I mean? When you could be going to heaven and now you're going to hell. Why would you sell your soul for a Supreme Court position? Okay, it's time that morality comes back to America. And the only way morality is going to come back is if we believe in Jesus Christ and start to live in the grace of Jesus Christ. You know, the only way I'm not a sexual assaulter, okay, like Kavanaugh, is that I rely on the grace of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the reason why I'm not immoral like Judge Kavanaugh. Okay, I'm not immoral like Bishop T.D. Fakes. Okay, and I'm not immoral like so many others, including people who I looked up to, who I expected more from. Okay, like Sharon Nesbitt and Juanita Bynum and others, and Cheryl Brady. They're all failing. And the reason why they're failing is because they're not letting Jesus Christ be the beginning and the end of their faith. They're feeling like they have to rely on the 10 Commandments, that they have to yield to the 10 Commandments. And what's happening is they are sinning and sinning greatly. And let me tell you something. God is the judge. He is the final judge. Not Judge Kavanaugh. Not no Congress. Not no Trump. Let me tell you something. God is the judge. And you want to make it right with God. You need to get right with God. Every single one of you need to repent. I've repented. And I continuously repent every day. And I say, Jesus, dear Heavenly Father, please, by your grace and your grace alone, by Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone, save me. That's all you have to do. And Jesus Christ will save you from destruction. So for anybody who has heard this today and, you know, wants to come to Jesus Christ, I'm asking you to bow your head with me and just say, Dear Heavenly Father, I realize that I am a sinner. And I pray that you please save me from destruction. That you please wash me with your blood and take away all of my sins. Wash away all of my sins. Thank you, Lord, for your perfect eternal sacrifice. In Jesus' name, we thankfully pray, amen, grace, grace. And if you prayed that prayer, you are saved. Get into a Bible-based church and, you know, believe God to give you his faith and give you his words, and believe God to give you the ability to obey him. Okay, for such a time as this. Because we are in the end times, people, and there's no turning back. If you make a wrong decision, if you make a decision to rely on yourself and not to rely on Jesus Christ, you will go to hell. Not no might, you will. Goodbye.